Working with PE parts, very basic stuff. A lot of us, occasionally have to think we're going to dabble in PE parts, right? Because they come in kits, or we look at this and go, wow, what I could do with this. Just, or you see something on a table somewhere that somebody's done, you go, wow, I wish I could do that. That's me, I'm always talking about to myself like that. But the basics of working with it is, and Dave touched on it some, is that generally you can do a lot of the assembly of the parts using super glue. But if you have a joint that you want to have be strong or structural in some way, then soldering is also an option. And the key to both of these is that these are mechanical adhesions. The joints are held together by the structure of the solder or the CA. It gets into those little micro texture grooves and stuff on the parts, and that's what it anchors to, like an octopus almost, and holds the stuff together. So that's what you got. I've got a couple examples here, just the two basic commercial stuff you see, which is Photo-Cut was a guy who did some great work back in the 80s and 90s, and I don't know how long he went with it, but he was around for a while. I don't think he does it anymore, but sometimes you'll run across these and you'll see the parts, they're like stuck to this little rubber sheet, and so they're not held together like what is typical now in a fret, like a sprue almost. What he has done is he has basically eaten away everything but the part, and he's got it on adhered to a plastic backing. So to get it off, you just soak it in acetone, which does two things. It cleans it for one thing, and it also gets it off the little rubber sheet. So if you see that, that's how you handle it. And you don't have to cut the parts free. Obviously, you may end up fishing out a bunch of tiny little pieces if you do that. So that's kind of one advantage to having stuff like this. And this is typical of Edward, but this is another manufacturer. He's a Polish maker called Part, surprisingly enough. So Part is very nice stuff. Just like, who's the big guy in armor? Who is it that does? Aber is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Aber does a lot of really nice stuff for armor. Part does a lot of aircraft photo etch. He does armor as well. I think he likes 48 scale because he does a lot of, even for 48 scale armor. Anyway, so what you have here is essentially, the sheet of brass where they basically etched away everything around the part in like a little border, and got little connecting nubs to hold the pieces in place so they don't just fall off. So to free the part, you're going to need to cut through that little nub. It's like cutting through a sprue. And there's some means of doing that. Now, the old standby is the number 10 X-Acto blade. It's got a curve on it, so you can go down and press and roll over the part, the nub that you're cutting through, and it cuts right through it. Very easy. And it's a thick blade, so
do
it does
a cutting mat, like do it on a cutting mat, like it's okay?
You want to do it on a hard surface, so I'll demonstrate that in a minute. And the other thing is you can get an actual pair of, they're like sprue cutters for photo-etched brass. They're just like little tiny scissors. The disadvantage of these, I think, sometimes is that they can deform the part in the action of the scissoring. So, it just depends on the application and what you're doing. Like this particular set is for an SPD Dauntless, and it's got all this stringer and framework detail, and we can slide that around if you can reach it and pass it around. You see it's very delicate, and some of the ends that are free, they've even started to bend. So very tiny. So if you try to cut that with this, it would probably muck it up bad.
Is that 48 or 72nd?
It's 48. Yeah.
So can I throw something out real quick?
No, go ahead.
So I call PE Jesus parts because invariably if you got a piece that's held on by two little nubs, you get the first nub off, I found it very handy to take a piece of, say, painter's tape and put the PE on that so that when you cut the second part, it doesn't go into the, it doesn't go to the carpet.
Yeah.
PE is the devil.
Or your garage.
I need one back, so which one's got the parts I want to get? Anyway, so yeah, that's exactly, I was gonna get to that.
Did you dip that on acid?
Just get a good,
Yeah, I'm not done anything yet. with them.
How do you clean it before you, I think that's your question.
Yeah, I'm just seeing. Did you do that one in acetone? That one?
So, generally what I'll do, I don't clean it in acetone. I clean the part instead of everything else. But you can, that makes sense. You can just get your little flat tray and pour some acetone in. I was cleaning stuff with the white vinegar to give a little tooth to the surface.
oh, that was your
But
water.
I realized, man, there's probably still a photo resist on here. Somebody had brought in a kit. Wait, where's the Bruce? There it is. It's got a H2 kit, and it's got PE thread in here that looks kind of orange. So that's got to be the photo resist. Yeah, you can bring it over. Because he was asking what to do with it. So, like Dave said, you can strip that off using acetone or lacquer thinner. Same end result. Gets it off. Probably easiest if you do the whole thing. Once you get the parts free and everything, you're going to do stuff to them, and then at some point you're going to clean them again. And that's where you might want to dip them in a little bit of mild acid like a vinegar to give them a little cleaning. That's when you're all done, before you paint. Another thing to do is also sand. You can use sanding sticks of various grits. The finer grit, the less, scratching you'll see on the surface. You want to do the resist removal first before you do any sanding, so you don't just kind of grind that stuff into the metal and make it harder to get it free. I'm going to do the cutting first. Let me see if I can make sure. Cut.
There's more.
Wait, there's more. I got to be able to see. Okay, here we go. So again, you just rock it back and forth, and it cuts right through. It's got 3 folds. You got the 1 fold on the end, and then you got the 2 folds on the side. So it ends up making kind of like a little tray. So before I get to that though, I want to sand off any leftover nub. So what you can do is place it into the pliers with just a little bit with the nub sticking out, and then you take your file to it. So you squeeze it tight, and you want to go along the edge of the part. You don't want to go across, because if you have it protruding, so go along the edge of the part so you don't put it kind of bending. But if you need to anneal it, and that's a point I made there, I mean, you can do it even with a candle. It doesn't take, it's very little brass, so the amount of heat you can transfer to it is a lot, even from a flame like this. So this size part, if you're talking about something bigger, and you want to make it softer, which is what the annealing will do for you, then you might need to use something a little bigger than this, like a little torch. I do have an alcohol torch at home. I've never used it, but now I might have a use for it. Now I'm holding a tweezer, let me see. So this has got a lock on it. Locking tweezers are handy, like the
Or the
third hand tools that you get.
Yeah.
The little alligator clips that are on them, they can be a little strong for these little thin parts. So you can put one in there and it'd crush. Yeah,
Or mark it
so
up, yeah.
what you do is you put it in a set of tweezers and put the tweezer in the hand and the alligator clip, and then you work from there. It'll look pretty jury rigged, but we got our requirements. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat this guy up just a little bit. Now I can take the other guys, the big longer ones, and do them in the same manner. And it works with these pliers because they're not too big for the job with hand. If you've done some helps in this exercise, believe it or not, because it's the same kind of thing. You're folding something flat that's designed to be
Little Middle Earth projects are good practice too.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully this doesn't get lost in the process, but here we'll pass it around. You just take a quick look. It's just 3 folds. Okay, so that part of it's simple. But again, if you've got a selection of different widths, they can be very helpful for quick work.
I've watched Scott Brady do all his bends with that, and Charles Landrum does all his ship bending, he builds ships. And what he did with that, there are many people.
This is typical of the kind of folding tools you can get. There's several makers of it, and Micromark provides for that. This is a nice tool. It has a lot of different shaped tongues. You can make. Who was it? Joe was saying you replaced all the hand hold.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Grab handles. He made them out of wire. Well, you can use those little. So you can move it from this position to another position in a second set of holes. So you can move it back with a little more work area if you needed it for some reason.
I love them.
But you can also turn it around and then use it for, playing with that. The back side is, of course, your long straight edge right here. So that's the intent, is that you use that for doing those long folds up to, what is it, about 4 inches.
Handrail section of the ship.
But, one thing you can do is, if you're dexterous, you can use your old machine ruler. It's got a nice square edge on it, and it's straight. You don't have one of these, go to a
Amazon.
I was going to say hardware store, but yes, Amazon could be one.
They still have those?
And you can do that, and then have your trusty. They say use a dull razor blade. So I'm going to dull it a little bit.
Or you can just hang it off the edge, like I do.
Oh, where you just use it like a bending brake. My glass is not square; it's got chamfered edges, so I'm going to do this. But of course, obviously, the trick is to make sure nothing moves. Well, one way to make sure that happens is, so once I start the fold, I'm going to be good. Okay, just try and get in there as close as you can, and then bend it all up in one movement. Now, I think this is supposed to be at some kind of angle, but I just did 90 degrees. So the same thing works with this. Of course, you just slide it in there, clamp it down, and do your fold, and they give you a nice. This is when you go, nice tools. They give you a nice long blade to use, so you can support a very long fold. Like maybe a mast, 3/50th scale ship model mast that's a 90-degree fold in one of the legs. This tool, I think, is going to be very useful for me, because I just am enamored with the photo-etched Spandau. Spandau, is that how you say it? Machine guns?
Jacket.
Yeah, the perforated jacket. I'm looking, that's what caused me to have AMS, I think, looking at those things going, wow. So it comes with some different cutting sheets as part of the whole kit there, plus a folding tool that's made out of plexiglass or acrylic, so you don't have so much chance cutting through your piece. But this is it's a pre-made selection of blocks, round blocks, and some thick metal rod, and a little thing so you can lay a piece on it that you wish to curl, and use the little block to mash it in there, and then you can start the curl. And then you take two of them side by side, and you can kind of do a dual rolling action, and they'll roll as contained in the instructions that they provide to show you how to. This is something you got to dive into and play with before you have enough confidence to feel like you know what you're doing and get it done.
Experiment first.
Look for that piece of photo etch that you picked up at a raffle that you know you'll never need, and just use this for exercise.